let's talk with President Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton. I should note, sir, you have already blasted these officials for using Signal. You say it's not as secure government telecommunications, and that we shouldn't believe folks who are trying to make us think that. So what is your reaction to the CIA director defending the use of Signal by testifying this morning that Signal was loaded onto his CIA computer? It was, quote, permissible to use to communicate and coordinate for work purposes, provided that any decisions that are made are also recorded through formal channels.
Well, I'd like to know who put it on his computer and when, and why didn't they have another review? We've seen reports just a few days before this group was set up. The Department of Defense sent a memo around saying Signal was very vulnerable. I think the key point here is the United States government over decades has spent billions of dollars to create the world's most secure telecommunications capabilities. And why these senior officials, virtually all of whom are 24/7 able to get onto a secure phone, a secure video, a secure computer, why they would shift off of that for any reason to any commercial system. That's the original sin. Everything else after that just makes things worse. But why anybody would use Signal for any purpose, I can't understand. And if the argument is, well, they did it in the Biden administration, I mean, that's practically a recommendation not to do it. They just accept everything Joe Biden's administration did. That's quite an argument.
Yeah, they don't like many things that Joe Biden's administration did. That's very clear. Okay, so that's the original sin. But then the one that is causing a lot of the fallout here is Secretary Hegseth putting all of these operational details into the group chat. Should Jeffrey Goldberg, the reporter who was inadvertently added to the group chat and is privy to these details, should he publish them? He had refrained from printing them because of security reasons, but now you have administration officials minimizing those details being on this platform. Should he publish them?
Well, Tulsi Gabbard at least testified there was no classified information in the chain. So that should be a defense in court if the Justice Department were to try and prosecute Goldberg. They could ask for the information back. I think they know that it's classified, and I think, frankly, some of the information published in the Atlantic article was classified. For example, the argument that's made by several people that Europeans and Egypt, I think, were included, are going to have to pay for the outcome of the operation against the Houthis in Yemen to clear the Red Sea maritime passage. Now, I'll guarantee when they read that in European capitals in Cairo today, they said, what? So I think it's like many instances of classification. That would be classified until we actually told the governments or made it public. But when it's made public before we're prepared to do it, I think that almost certainly was classified in and of itself. The whole point of staying in the government-approved secure channels is you can say anything you want. You can talk about today's newspapers. You can talk about top-secret code word information. You can talk about anything in between. You don't worry about it. Once you're on Signal, once you're on any non-governmental, non-secure channel, you're at risk of saying something if you're not careful. And what I think is additionally worthy of investigation here is, was this the first rodeo? Was this the first Signal app group chat in the national security space? You can't tell from the article. I have a feeling it may not have been, and I think that makes it potentially even more serious.
There is some hair splitting going on over what is classified and under what authority or under what agency. Let's listen to what Tulsi Gabbard said about that.
Senator, I can attest to the fact that there were no classified or intelligence equities that were included in that chat group at any time.
So,
and I
so
defer,
the attack sequencing and timing and weapons and targets you don't consider should have been classified?
I defer to the Secretary of Defense and the National Security Council on that question.
Now, to be clear, Gabbard and Ratcliff seem to be leaning on this distinction that they say this was not intelligence community classified information. Ratcliff went on to say the Secretary of Defense is the original classification authority for the DoD and deciding what would be classified information. We've heard him talk to the press and say there wasn't classified information, which I guess would be a Jeffrey Goldberg defense in court. But what is your read there on what Gabbard and Ratcliff are doing, kind of splitting those hairs?
Well, they're trying to cover their posteriors. I think they're very worried. I think they know there was classified information.